Toasty is actually being a little crazy right now, so if you see her acting a complete fool in the background, Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Hey Shady Lady, and today we are talking about raiding on Twitch. What is a raid? How to raid, reasons you should be raiding, how to pick a good raid target, preparing your chat to go on the raid with you, how to act while raiding, how to increase your chances of being raided, and what you should do as the streamer who is receiving a raid. Just a quick 10-second promo for myself, but I did just upload a new video to my vlog channel that's a day in the life of a streamer. I didn't upload it to this channel because it didn't feel super Twitch tutorial-y, but I feel like some of you could benefit or might be interested in that video. So the link will be in the description box below. Okay, so we're going to start with the basics of what is a raid. Raiding is a tool available on Twitch that when you're ending your stream, you can take your live viewers and send them to another person's live channel. I think about it like I'm having a party and I've invited a bunch of my friends over, but it's getting towards the end of the night and I'm kind of ready to wrap up for the night and clean up my house and go to bed, but some of my people are still like wanting to party. So I know that my next door neighbor or the friend I have down the street, they're having a party and they usually party way later than I do. So I'm going to take those people with me to their house, knock on the door and be like, surprise, we brought some party guests. I'm bringing my guests to their party. So I want my guests to behave nicely when I bring them to my friend's house, and I want my friends to be nice to my guests as well. This is why it is a networking relationship that's involved around raiding, and you want to kind of vet the people that you're raiding beforehand or know who you're going to be raiding so you know that you're sending your community to a good place. And you also want to make sure that your community is respectful when you're sending them to a new streamer. It's really like that song that's like, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to raid. It's extremely simple. You literally just type in your Twitch chat /raid space and then the name of the streamer you're wanting to raid. Then a countdown will pop up on your OBS that says we're raiding in 90 seconds or something, and you can let the countdown run down, or you can go ahead and click raid now and it's going to bring your chat over into the new person's channel. Another option is that there is a quick link in the Twitch dashboard. There's a raid button, so you don't have to go into your chat in OBS. You could, if you're someone who uses the Twitch dashboard more effectively. And then here's a pro tip if you're, I would say, a little bit more of an experienced streamer and you're used to juggling a bunch of different things at one time. I like to open up the tab of the streamer I'm going to be raiding a good minute or two before I actually send the raid so that I can let the Twitch ad play so that when the raid does go through, I don't have to get stuck with an ad and I miss all of the streamer's reaction and the questions they might ask me or anything like that. And I just make sure that the tab is muted on my Google Chrome. I right click on Twitch tab, mute site, so that that sound isn't coming through my stream audio to my viewers. It's not required if you're just kind of trying to figure out what you're doing and you're getting into this. So, okay, now to talk about why you should be raiding. I think the most important reason is that it's just an extremely good networking tool. It's also really fun and rewarding. It's one of my favorite parts of the stream is when I get to raid and like bring some joy to someone else and see this fun reaction. It gives back to the Twitch ecosystem. I personally feel like it's such a huge waste when streamers don't raid. The viewer count that you could be adding to someone else's channel could make such a huge difference for them that night, bumping them up in the category. It could lead to subscribers for them, viewers, all kinds of things. It's not hurting you. It takes nothing away from you at all. And you're only going to be helping someone else. I'm recycling the energy. I'm putting energy back into other streamers. Whereas if I just ended my stream, that view count just disappears. And a lot of times when you're raiding, it says you're raiding like with 25 people, but there's only 3 people that actually are like spamming the raid message. So it's like taking a lurk count as well. Like lurkers on your channel are added to that. So it's really not hurting anybody. I just really think that everyone should be raiding. And the best part about it is it's fun and rewarding, and you could literally make someone's entire day or week even. This is a great way for you to introduce your community to a brand new streamer and support and promote a content creator that you really like. The biggest thing for me is if I have 20 viewers and I raid someone who has 10 viewers, I'm bumping them up to about 30 viewers, which could easily push them to the top row of the category that they're playing in, or at least the second row. It really helps them gain visibility. And a thing about Twitch culture is that there's definitely this if you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back kind of mentality. So when you're raiding someone, it's possible that you could end up getting a raid back from them in the future, which means means that you could get that viewer count bump. You never want to expect to be rated, or like if I raid this person, they better raid me back. You never want to have that type of attitude. You want to go into this with no expectations. I think that it's a very likely outcome of raiding people, as you will see the raid returned at some point. And another thing that's really cool about raiding is, like, say I've been networking with a streamer and I've been hanging out in their chat and talking to them and getting to know them, and I'm being a good viewer and I'm not mentioning that I'm a streamer. I'm keeping the conversation on them. I'm not making it about me. I'm not self-promoting shamelessly, but I want that streamer to know that I'm a streamer too. If I raid them, they have to know you're a streamer at that point. And a lot of times they'll be like, oh my God, you've been hanging out in my community for a couple of weeks and I had no idea you were a streamer. Wow. Oh my God, let me make sure I'm following you. So it's a really, really cool way to let someone know that you're a streamer without just being like, hey, I'm a streamer, haha, in their chat. Okay, so now we're going to move on to how to pick a good raid target. There's a couple of different ways you can go about this. The first way is obviously just raiding someone that you're already following, raiding a streamer that you're familiar with. And you'll find, I think, most streamers are just rating people that they already know because there's safety in it. You know what to expect. You're not going to get like a rude response or anything like that. One of the first ways is check your following list. Check who you're following on Twitch and see who's live at the moment. Another way is to check through the Discords that you're part of. Maybe you're part of some Twitch Discords that have the bot set up that shows when people are in that live now category, or there's a live now section in the Discords. It could be other streamers' Discords or streamer communities that you're part of. So just kind of scroll through there and see if anyone catches your eye. A third way is kind of fun for your community. You could ask, hey, we're gonna raid, but I don't have anyone online tonight. Does anyone have any streamers that they really like that are live right now that we could raid? Because at that point, it's closer to a guarantee that you're going to like the content creator because you trust your community and you trust that they have good taste and the tastes align with like your type of energy. And the final one is the gamble, which is to raid someone that you've never even really heard of. Maybe I'm playing Stardew Valley that night. I have no one on my following list. No one's in Discord. I don't really know who to raid. So I just open up the Stardew Valley category. Since we're playing Stardew tonight, let's just stick with a Stardew streamer. And I just pick someone random out of the list. At that point, it's a huge gamble. So for me personally, I try and look for someone who catches my eye visually. Like, do they kind of look like, you know, they might be cool. I'll pull their tab open. I might listen for 10 or 15 seconds to just kind of get a little bit of a feel. And I'll check out their profile, see if there are any red flags that pop up, like this person might be a jerk or something. But it is a really big gamble. I will say that it's fun and rewarding because you meet new people this way, but I will say that I've had an experience or two where I raid someone and they just don't care. They don't even notice. They don't say thank you. They don't even respond. Or in one case where it was just this very like kind of snobbish, like, oh, hey everybody, like just like so raiding a community that you have no idea who they are or what they're about, it can possibly lead to some negative scenarios. More likely than not, you're going to have someone who's really like excited and happy. A tip I have here is to vet people ahead of time. So I will just spend time, you know, maybe an hour or two once a week, once a month or so. Really, it doesn't even have to be that much. Just go through the categories that I'm frequently playing in and just kind of browse and look for some people who I like as content creators. Just kind of get to know a couple new streamers and add them to my following list so that I have more people to choose from when I am raiding at the end of the night. So strategically following people based on their general live time will be helpful in multiple ways. First of all, you can spend a little bit of time searching around on the categories you normally play in, an hour or two after your streams normally end, on nights where you're not live, to try and follow some channels that will give you more people to raid when your streams end. And alternatively, you can spend some time in channels like you go live at 7, so spend some time in channels that go live around like 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. or so, and they usually stream for 2 or 3 hours because that means their streams will be ending in the middle of your stream time. So it could lead to more raids for you because you're strategically networking with people who typically stream a little before you go live and they finish their streams up after your live has already started. So you'll be available for them to pick from their raid target. I do think it's good practice. I don't like to raid the same person more than once a month, really. I like to raid new people every single time. I don't like to raid the same people over and over and over again. But at the same time, I do have people that I'm friends with that I will raid, like if it's a special stream they're doing, and I don't care how often I'm raiding them. It's like, whatever, this is my friend, let's go support them. But I would definitely say to look for people with similar vibes to you that you think your community would also enjoy. Because the ultimate goal with a raid is not to have everyone come in and raid and then immediately leave within 3 minutes. You want your community to stick around. You want to leave a good impression on that streamer. So if your community likes them, it's more likely that you and that streamer will probably vibe anyway if your community is really enjoying them. I would say to try and pick someone who is in a similar category to you. You don't want to go from like streaming ASMR to rating an Apex streamer, because it's going to go from really super quiet to this really loud, gunshots everywhere, and oh my god, get him, get him, get him. And then there's some people that might have been watching your stream that might have fallen asleep to your stream, and then they're going to be like rudely awakened by this really loud stream, and vice versa. That's not the type of content they were watching. So it's not likely that your community is really going to stick around that long. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about numbers when you're picking a raid target. There's not a strict rule about you can't raid someone with 100 viewers if you only have 5, but I do think that like just over the 5 years that I've been streaming, I do think that it's just a little bit better practice to kind of stick around your numbers. One of my mods, Lumpy Shinobi, is also a streamer, and he says that he likes to raid people who are within 10 below or 10 above him viewer-wise. That's a pretty good rule of thumb if you're averaging under like 30 viewers on Twitch. But I will say that like on days where I'm sitting at like 50 viewers, if I'm getting a raid of 5 people, it's still gonna bump me up. I'm still grateful for that. I don't think that you should be concerned about raiding someone just because you have a small view count. And if you ever raid someone and they're like, wow, only 4 viewers, unfollow them. Don't support them anymore. That ungratitude is really repulsive. I don't think that it happens super often, but it's something I've seen pop up from time to time. But just understand that in general, most streamers are appreciative of raids no matter what the size is. I will say that if I'm sitting at 20 viewers that day and I raid a streamer who has like 200 viewers, it's possible they might not even notice. Not guaranteed, but they might have such an active chat and so many things going on, and they just got this gift sub and this and this. The raid might get kind of lost. So at 20 viewers, I would rather raid someone who is either at 5 viewers or like at maybe about 40 or 50 viewers. Because if you take your 20 viewers to someone who's sitting at 40 viewers, 50 viewers, you're going to bump them up to 70. And even if I'm sitting at 30 viewers and I'm looking at this person with 70 viewers, if I raid them, I'm pushing them into triple digits. They're going to be in 100 viewers. That's huge. So I don't think that you should be concerned about not rating because they've got bigger numbers than you. That's what I would call rating up. So rating up the viewer count. That's a great networking tool for you because you're going to be putting your name in front of those 70 viewers, all of these new eyes. Rating down, I think, feels much more rewarding because if I'm sitting at 20 viewers and I raid someone who's sitting at 3 or 4 viewers, they're getting pushed up to 25 viewers now. Maybe they've never had that many viewers before. They're going to be so excited and so happy. Some more numbers focused and I would say superficial people would say that there's nothing in it for them if they're rating down. I just don't think that's true. Maybe you could find like a good ratio. Like if you're streaming 3 times a week, like 1 raid is rating up, 1 raid is rating down, and 1 raid is rating someone, maybe someone new you've never talked to. And at that point, it's like I'm rating someone I already know and I'm friends with and I'm sharing the love down. I'm rating up and I'm getting a good opportunity. I'm spreading my name in front of more eyes. And then the rating someone you don't know is expanding your networking circle. So maybe having a variety of the ways that you go about rating is a good way to kind of like grow yourself gradually and keep like a nice integrity and good vibes on your channel at the same time. So next I want to talk about preparing your chat to actually go on the raid. I like to personally give a little tiny intro for the person I'm about to raid. Like, we're going to go raid my friend Mia Bite. She's super awesome. She's playing Genshin Impact tonight, but she's normally a Warframe streamer. She's got super chill vibes. She's a lot of fun. I think you guys are going to love her. I like to give a little small snippet like that to my community so they understand what they're about to go watch, the content creator, what I think of their vibe, what the game is, and maybe what that content creator normally produces. So even if they're not interested in Genshin Impact, they're like, oh, well, I do like Warframe. Yeah, let me check out this Warframe streamer. And another thing that's very popular to do with raiding is to actually have something called a raid command. And if you are experienced enough and you have a chat bot, you can program for an ! raid and just have this chat command fill up. But it's just a little phrase that your community will all copy and paste into the new person's channel. So mine, for example, like my username is Hey Shady Lady. So my raid message is Hey Shady Rady. You can come up with all kinds kinds of fun different things. Like I had a streamer friend of mine who she used to do panty raids, which is a little more like, you know, edgy or whatever, but there's all kinds of cute ideas you can come up with. You could literally just say, hey, go post your favorite cute emotes in their channel and say hi from me. It could just be your name and raid. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but you can have a lot of fun with it. And an important thing about prepping your chat to raid is to lead by example. How you behave is going to show your chat how they can behave. You're leading, so they're going to kind of mimic your behavior. So how you should act when you are raiding someone's channel. This is going to be like kind of opinion based for me, but it is based on my 5 years of experience on Twitch as a streamer and as a viewer. The first things first is come in and spam your raid message and say hi. I will say that some streamers get overwhelmed with too much spam in their chat, so just try to be mindful and pay attention to them and look for clues that they might be like overwhelmed, and maybe tone the spam down a little bit. But if they're like super hyped up and they're like, yeah, what's up raiders, come on, my community, yeah, spam emotes back, then keep spamming. You want to be aware and mindful of how they are reacting to your energy levels and just kind of adjust as appropriate. And I would say to make sure you're flowing with the streamer. Don't try and make the conversation all about you. So if I raid someone's channel and they are like, oh my god, thank you so much for the raid, I'm sorry, but I'm about to fight this Dark Souls boss and it's really crazy right now. I'm not gonna put a bunch of messages in chat. I'm like, okay, they're in an intense part of the game. We're gonna sit back and chill and watch them for a second. I don't expect the streamer to drop everything and make it all about me and like this, thanks, hey shady lady, for the raid, let's stop everything for you. I don't expect that ever, but especially if I go into someone's channel and they're clearly at like an intense part of a game, or they're right in the middle of some kind of specific conversation they really want to wrap up before they cut it off and switch gears. I give this advice a lot, but I think it's a good idea to not make the conversation about you unless the streamer is making the conversation about you. So if I come in and they're like, oh my gosh, hey, how was your stream? Tell me all about it. What were you playing? What were you doing? How's your day going? Then I've been invited to make it about me, to talk about myself a little bit. I still personally like to just like, oh yeah, we had a great time. I was playing Dark Souls. We beat Ornstein and Smo tonight. How is your game going? How's this going? I like to answer their question and then reroute it back to them, because honestly, like when I'm raiding, I'm ready to check out. So I want to kind of like taper the conversation out more quickly than like drag it on. So if they do ask you how your channel's going, it's a good idea to go ahead and be prepared to have like an elevator pitch. So maybe just practice this with yourself a little bit. An elevator pitch of your stream and your vibes. So an example is like, yeah, tonight we played some spooky games and I almost cried. I'm just not used to playing horror, and Outlast is so scary. Normally we're just playing sandbox games on my channel and keeping it chill. At that point, you're letting their community know what kind of content creator you are, because when you're raiding, you're also getting a promotion. You're getting promoted to that streamer's community. It's again a scratch your back, scratch my back kind of thing. So I am introducing my community to them, but then they're probably very likely going to introduce me to their community and say, make sure you go check out Hey Shady Lady. She's so cool. Give her a follow. And it does result in some follows. My personal practice too is when I come in and you do get a shout out, if a mod has gone out of their way, I like to personally thank the mod. I will at the mod and say thank you, or I'll at the streamer and say thanks for shouting me out. It's not a requirement, but I just think it's good form to say thank you and appreciate the mod's work. It's a good idea to budget 5 to 10 minutes to kind of hang out in that person's channel. So this section is kind of based on, we have Mr. Static here. Hello, Mr. Static. What is the best thing for a streamer to do post-raid? Just sit and chill or get to know them a little bit? I think a little bit of both, honestly. I would use the first 5 minutes or so that you have that streamer's undivided attention to get to know them and let them get to know you. I do personally like to keep the stream up for 10, 15, 20 maybe, and if they're entertaining enough, maybe an hour, and just kind of really get to know that person so that I can shout them out appropriately when they come in my channel and I'll be able to talk to them well. Like if someone just comes in and I'm like, oh, go check them out, they're a streamer, that's not a very personalized shout out. But if I'm like, oh my god, Mr. Static's here, everyone, you're gonna love him so much, he's so much fun, he does like cool Photoshop streams on his channel, he plays Stardew Valley sometimes, he's got a cool British accent, he's very stylish and cool, y'all are really gonna love him. That's very personalized. So Mr. Static is feeling good from that shout out, but my community is also like, whoa, cool, a British streamer that plays Stardew, wow, that sounds awesome. They're more likely to go check that out than if I'm just like, oh, Mr. Static, he's a really cool streamer, go check him out. That's a really generic plug. The longer you spend in someone's channel, or the longer you spend interacting with someone on social media, the better you're gonna know them and the more personalized of a shout out you can give, which benefits, it makes you first of all look really professional, and it second of all makes the streamer that you're shouting out feel like you really, it's a much better connection. They feel like you really know them and they have a better impression of you, and it helps your community understand better what you're talking about and what you're promoting. So it's win-win-win-win-win to spend time and energy getting to know the people that you're networking with. I'm going to bring up something something that the Lady Ego has said on my Twitter when I asked y'all about rating. The Lady Ego says, if someone says they have to sleep, eat, etc. before leaving, then I'm totally cool. With people I'm unfamiliar with, I get a little anxious or uncomfortable if someone raids and they don't say anything other than hi and then disappear. It doesn't help me get a feel for them or their stream. So it's not like I'm upset at them if they have to leave, but if it's someone who's raided me and I've never talked to them before and they're just like, hey, bye, I'm like, okay, I don't really know you. I didn't get to have a conversation with you. I don't really know you at all. I'm not upset at them. They had an opportunity to have a direct conversation with me. I could have gotten to know them better, and it might have left a bigger, better impression in my mind, and I might be more likely to raid them more quickly. And again, it's not a requirement. Take the 10 minutes you have of that streamer's kind of undivided attention focused on you and they're feeling grateful towards you, and get to know them a little bit. Let them get to know you. Have a little conversation with them. It might be a little small talkish because you might not know each other that well, but that's totally fine. That's how you start the process. Have a little conversation with them to try and solidify that networking relationship that you're initiating. But on the reverse of that, don't feel obligated to stay. If you've just been streaming for 6 hours, your bladder is about to burst, you're starving, or you're late for some other kind of appointment or something like that, you don't have to stay. Most streamers understand this. If I raid someone, I'll hang out with them for like 5 minutes or so, and I'm like, my little phrase that I say is host and ghost. Sorry, I have to host and ghost, but I'm so hungry and I have to go eat. And 9 times out of 10, that streamer is gonna be like, dude, I totally get it. Go eat, go eat. Thank you so much. Every streamer knows what it's like when you're at the end of your stream and you're just ready to get away from your computer. You're like, I just want to turn all of this off and I want to go lay down, stuff my face with this food that's been sitting here. So it's not a big deal to leave quickly after you raid. The question originated from Apple Shampoo, who said, when I raid a channel, I usually bounce like 2 seconds later. I ended my stream. I'm tired. I just don't feel like I have to be there for longer than that. Guess I'm rude. I don't necessarily think it's going to be rude. I think you're just missing out on an opportunity for networking if you don't know that person. If you're already friends with that streamer and y'all have known each other for a year, or y'all are talking in Discord, hanging out all the time, you don't have to feel obligated to sit there for 10 minutes unless you just want to because you like them. We have a question here from Vosval, and Vosval is primarily a viewer. He says, is it inappropriate to throw out some sub donations to the rated channel or small donation when coming in as part of a group of rating viewers if it's your first time there? So the question is, when you're a community member, or even as the streamer, if I go in, is it appropriate to donate to them or send them gift subs or anything like that? I think this is not a one size fits all answer. It's a very much like play it by ear. If you already know the streamer, let's go. This is one of my favorite people on Twitch. I love her so much. She's so cool. Let's go hang out with her. I think that would be a really appropriate time for community to super hype and maybe throw some biddies and some gift subs and stuff like that. But if I'm like, oh, let's go see this random person in Stardew. I've never really talked to them before. Let's go check them out. And they don't know me at that point. They don't know me or my community. So if my community comes in and starts gifting subs or money, I know subs aren't refundable, but I know that for me, when I receive donations from people that I've never seen before, I like low-key expect them to refund that and kind of screw me over. So I don't necessarily trust people giving me money when I've never really talked to them before. So I can see how that might make some streamers like a little like, oh, this is weird. I think, okay, here's what I would say for this. If you really want to support that streamer, like you want to come in and you want to toss a little bit of like monetary support in, gift one sub to the streamer that you rated in with. So like if I was rating, we'll use Mia Byte again. If I'm rating Mia Byte and you are coming in, gift me a subscription to Mia's channel, because at that point it's very much like you're encouraging our friendship kind of thing. I think that would be a really good way to do some monetary support, and then base any continuation of that on the streamer's reaction. Like if they seem a little hesitant or like weird about it, then maybe don't do anymore. But if they're like, oh my god, that's so sweet of you, wow, what a cool community, so generous, then maybe you could go ahead and drop another like 5 random gift subs or throw them 100 bits or something. It's play it by ear, not a one size fits all answer. It's a really difficult question to answer, honestly. The next section is how to actually be a good raid target. And so this is just kind of how to optimize yourself for getting raided. And I think that this might be kind of common, but it's not a guarantee. And if you do any of these things, doesn't mean you're not going to get raided or anything like that. When I'm picking someone from a category and I've never seen them before, 99% of the time I want someone with a webcam, or at least a VTube avatar or some kind of avatar on screen. Just because of the reaction, the facial expressions. I think this is common, but it's not to say that if you don't have a webcam, you're never going to get raided, but it will increase your chance chances of getting picked out of that sea of thumbnails. Another thing is I don't typically like to raid people who are playing multiplayer games. I don't personally like to raid when I know this person is going to be on voice chat with like 5 or 6 other people, because they're not going to be able to have a conversation with me, which is something I guess I'm seeking when I raid, and I think like smaller streamers in general are. I've seen other streamers do it though when I'm hanging out in channels. I know it's not just me. I even watched someone in the Stardew category the other night that was like, he was going to raid someone in the Stardew category he'd never raided before. He was going through all of the thumbnails and kind of like, well, this person's title says this, haha. Oh, well, what about them? Well, no, they're doing multiplayer. No, it's not raid multiplayer. So I know that I'm not the only one that favors solo streamers with webcams over non-webcams or multiplayer. I think in general, you should make the type of content you want to make. If you want to play multiplayer Stardew with no cam on, go for it. Don't let that stop you just on the off chance that you may or may not get a raid that night. Make the kind of content you want to make. But if you're on the fence about, should I turn my camera on tonight or should I not, opt for the camera. I would always encourage that. More tips on how to be a good raid target are kind of like tips just on being a good streamer, but be interactive and engaging when you are getting raided, because if you have a good reaction, you're more likely to get raided again by that streamer. If you're trying to pick up like random raids, people are scrolling through thumbnails. If you have a really good, engaging, interesting title, as opposed to just kind of a generic title or a title that just has a bunch of like exclamation mark giveaway, exclamation mark game name, exclamation mark this, have a title that's more engaging and more descriptive of the vibes going on in the channel that night. So like crying about how hot Sephiroth is. That's a kind of funny, interesting title that might get people more likely to click on the stream. Another big one is to not turn on follower only mode or sub only mode. Just keep those turned off unless there's some very specific reason that you're doing that. I will not raid a channel. It's by accident only if I raid someone who's got follower only mode on, especially sub only mode. The majority of your community is just gonna leave immediately. Nobody likes to feel pressured to follow just to say hi to see if they even like you in the first place. There's plenty of good reasons to have follower only mode turned on, especially if you're dealing with trolling or bullying or anything. In general, it is going to discourage a lot of people from raiding or even talking to you in the first place. People want to talk to you before they decide if they want to follow you. And another big one about how to be a good raid target is by raiding other people. Again, scratch my back, scratch your back kind of thing. So if I raid someone, they've got me on their radar, they might raid me back in the next week or so. I'm giving out raids all the time. It's more likely I'm going to be receiving the raids because I'm getting my name out there as someone who likes to raid. Let's play the raid game together. Those are just a couple of things that might increase your chances, but none of it's a guarantee. A lot of Twitch stuff is really just down to timing and luck. So don't expect anything ever. No expectations. That's my biggest piece of advice with anything related to Twitch. So now I'm going to talk about best raid practices when receiving a raid. And we have a question here from JK Meow that says, hi JK, that says, what should the streamer being raided say to the raiders other than thank you? Is it bad etiquette if you don't want to shout out a person raiding who you don't know? I don't think it's bad etiquette. You're not required to shout anybody out ever. And if you don't know them, you don't know what content you're promoting. So I think that's a fair hesitation to have, and it's totally up to you. I don't think it's bad etiquette. It might make that person feel a little offended, but at the same time, if they're feeling offended, it's only because they had an expectation coming into it, and that's on them, that's not on you. So what should you say when you're being raided, or how should you act when you're being raided? Be grateful and say thank you, first of all. Now, this is going to depend on how busy your content is for the night, or like how consumed you are with the game you're playing, or if how many raids you've already had that night and all kinds of stuff. But I'm going to pretend that you are totally capable of stopping what you're doing and giving attention to these people, and that you have not had any raids yet the night. So what I would recommend is literally to stop what you were doing and switch scenes. Actually, I'm going to insert a clip of me from my stream where I'm going to try and illustrate my best raiding reception etiquette possible. Wait, let me give you a present. Sooner Cologne! Okay, actually I'm going to be using this as an example for the raid video that I did tonight, so don't mind me while I go like look regular. So thank you so much for raiding. Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining in from Sooner Cologne's channel. I hope you had fun. Hi Actual Ceiling. What's up Drupolam? Is that how you say it? Gamer Raid, Merry Christmas! Hi Sooner. I feel like most of y'all know Sunar already, but if you don't, Sunar is a variety streamer, lots of Genshin Impact, an incredible artist, and a very famous voice actor. But yeah, if you are new here, my name is Hey Shady Lady. I'm a variety content creator. I mostly do like sandbox games, so on like Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, we mix it up. So I'll do some like art. Today we're playing Animal Crossing. Tomorrow we're gonna try out Stardew Valley, even though the 1.5 update dropped and I'm really scared that all of my mods are going to be broken and it's just going to be a bad time. And then on Sundays we do tarot and astrology. So, with a little bit of variety here, and tonight we're chilling, we're playing some Animal Crossing. It is Toy Day in Animal Crossing, so we're going around delivering gifts to everybody. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump back into that. How's Genshin Impact tonight? Happy Yule! What's up, Trapmaster? How are you? Just to summarize, you're introducing yourself, giving an elevator pitch of your content, you're thanking the streamer, you're shouting out and promoting the streamer and introducing them to your community and encouraging your community to go and support them. You're welcoming the raiders in. You want to shift your attention then and welcome the raiders in and say, hello, raiders. I like to call them out by name. Sometimes you can't get every single person's name, but just grab a couple of names that you can see. And then I try to segue them into the content that I'm playing. So after I kind of have a little back and forth for maybe a minute or so, I'm like, well, we're actually playing Stardew Valley tonight. Does anyone in here play Stardew, or do y'all like sandbox games at all? And I try and shift the conversation back to the content that I've been creating the entire night and that my community is there watching. This is another important thing, is you don't want to forget about your community that was already there and enjoying the content you were making before the raiders came in. So you don't want to let the raid completely co-opt the content and shift gears, because it's possible you could lose some of your original viewer base. Not lose forever, but they're like, oh, well, I was just enjoying the Stardew vibes and now it's just chatting stream and I wanted to watch Stardew, so I'm going to go find a different Stardew streamer. They're not going to leave forever, but they might click out of your channel because the content style changed. So I like to make my rating reception kind of like a 5 to 10 minute. I feel like 5 to 10 minutes is about the average for welcoming in new raiders and winding back down and getting back into what you were doing before the raid happened. But it is important to engage with the raiders and try and get them involved. You've got a very short amount of time. You know how short attention spans are, and a lot of times people are just trying to raid for like a minute and then they're going to leave because the content they were originally watching is over. You've got about a minute to convince them that you're worth watching either that night or following or coming back to your channel. So you definitely want to have that elevator pitch ready to go. But I do change from I have a specific scene set up. I will switch from my gaming scene to my just chatting scene. This is my welcome in raiders. My name is Hey Shady Lady, we've got the chat over here, so it's clearly like we're focused on community right now. We're focused on chat and community. I've got the stuff below displaying like all of the subs and bits and stuff like that. My name telling you what social media you can find me on. I have a page specifically set up to welcome raiders in. And your face is much bigger. People are much more, they can get a better connection with you. Another thing that I've seen some streamers do, and this is kind of fun, but they have a clip prepared that it's a scene they switch to that's like a Twitch channel trailer. I would definitely say to keep it under like 20 seconds or so. 15 to 20 seconds is probably good, but it's just maybe a compilation of your clips, video preview of what they can expect on your channel. So like your best favorite moments of your stream. Nothing too long, because people will get bored and click out. And like I said, I think I've reiterated this a lot, but a big part of rating is that interaction and reaction from the streamer. So yeah, a 15 to 20 second clip is good, but they want you back to say hi to them specifically and interact with them right in that moment. And then I guess to finalize this best raid practices is, what do you do when you get raided multiple times in a row? So like I get raided and I switch to the scene and I'm like, hey everyone, and I go on this big long, monologue, and it's this whole 10-minute process, and then we're finally getting back into Stardew Valley, and then like 3 or 4 minutes later I get another raid. It feels better to me to not repeat it too many times too close to each other. So like I don't mind doing my welcome in raiders kind of scene switch like 2 or 3 times in like a 4-hour stream. But if I'm doing it 2 or 3 times an hour, it's a little exhausting for the viewers that are hanging out long term. So that's gonna wrap up my presentation on raiding etiquette and how to pick a raid. Maybe I'll break this into multiple videos. I don't know. This is really long. It's almost an hour. But I hope that was helpful. If there are any thoughts or opinions or ideas that you have on raiding, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And what is your motivation for raiding? What makes you want to raid? For me, it is really just like the gratification and the like, ooh, I made their whole day so much better. Like I like to feel good by making other people feel good. That's what motivates me to raid, honestly. I do like to use it as networking, but I think my community would tell you that I very rarely like raid up. Although it's smart networking and it's smart business. So I guess that's gonna wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or thoughts or opinions, please leave them down in the comments below. And if you have any video you'd like to see me talk about next, I kind of want to do some like OBS overlay tutorials. Those have been highly requested. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. I hope you all have a wonderful week, start to the new year, and I will see you all soon. Bye!